Hello, patron friends, and welcome. This is another patron-only episode for patrons of the podcast, and today we are exploring one of the most remarkable cities of Tudor England, and that is Tudor York, a place where the whispers of the Tudor period still echo through the cobblestone streets and the formidable city walls. York, during the Tudor period, was the northernmost stronghold of the kingdom, a critical defensive outpost and a bustling hub of trade. Its unique geographical location made it an essential connection point between Scotland and the heart of England. A city of political, religious, and economic importance, York in the 16th century was a microcosm of Tudor England. Imagine, if you will, the sun just beginning to peek over the horizon, casting the first rays of light onto the ancient city of York. As the city awakens, we start our day by exploring the imposing city walls, the most complete medieval city walls still standing in England today, by the way. The walls of York were a silent witness to the turbulent Tudor era, a time of course, religious turmoil, power struggles, and significant societal change. They served as both a symbol and a physical embodiment of York's strategic significance. These fortifications saw many modifications during the Tudor period, adapting to advances in military technology and changing political landscape. Our walk takes us along the circuit of the walls, which during the Tudor period would have been patrolled by city guards, and our first stop is the infamous Micklegate Bar. As you stand beneath its time-worn stones, you can almost feel the weight of history pressing in around you. This was the traditional ceremonial gate for monarchs entering the city, yet it was also a stark reminder of the fate that befell those who crossed the king. The severed heads of traitors, including that of Richard, Duke of York, following the Battle of Wakefield in the Wars of the Roses, were displayed here as a gruesome warning to all who entered. After a brief exploration of the three other main gateways, we will descend from the walls, carrying with us a sense of the city's formidable past and the vital role it played during the Tudor period. As we wander towards our next stop, we bear in mind that York's history is not just in its grand fortifications, but also in its narrow alleyways, the time-worn marketplaces, and the enduring spirit of the people. The morning bustle grows, leading us into the heart of the city and the lively district of the Shambles. Even now, you can see the medieval charm woven into the fabric of this place with its overhanging timber-framed buildings, some dating back to the 14th century. During the Tudor period, the Shambles was the city's principal market street, teeming with butchers' shops. Picture this, the narrow, cobbled street thronging with townsfolk, haggling for the best cuts of meat, their calls echoing off the timber and plaster walls of the tightly packed houses and storefronts. For the Tudors, the marketplace wasn't just a place for commerce, but a social hub, a lifeline that connected the entire community. As midday approaches, our historical journey takes a gastronomic turn. Let's talk about the Tudor food, the intriguing mix of abundance and simplicity. For the common people of York, a midday meal might have been a hearty pottage, a thick stew of vegetables and grains, often with a small amount of meat or fish if it was a fast day. The wealthier class, of course, could afford a more varied diet, which included fruits and nuts, cheese, and a wider range of meat. Yet York, with its position on the river, had access to a variety of freshwater fish like pike, roach, and eel. Agriculture and the surrounding countryside would have supplied the city with grains, dairy, and vegetables. And let's not forget the contributions of the local hunters bringing game in from nearby forests. So as we virtually wander through Tudor York, imagine tucking into a midday meal sourced from the local area. Perhaps a thick slice of bread, a generous portion of pottage, and, if you're lucky, a bit of cheese or a piece of meat. The tastes and aromas of the period bring us closer to the daily life of its inhabitants, immersing us further in the era. As we leave the bustling marketplace and satisfy our historical appetites, we journey on to a spiritual sanctuary that has towered over York for centuries, York Minster. The Minster was the seat of the Archbishop of York, and it was the heart of the religious life in the city during the Tudor period. It had been built over the span of 250 years between 1220 and 1472. As the natural center of the church in the north, the Minster has played an important role in great national affairs, not least during the turbulent period of the Reformation and the Civil War. Under the vast expanse of the Minster's stained glass windows, we delve into its role during the religious upheavals of the time. When Henry VIII broke from Rome and established the Church of England, it reverberated through every corner of the kingdom, and York Minster was no exception. Despite the turmoil, the Minster continued to be a focal point for the city, its bell tolling out the hours of the day, and its liturgical calendar shaping the rhythm of life. Within these hallowed walls, people prayed, worshipped, and sought solace. As we stand in the shadow of its towers, we can imagine the fervor of the sermons and the echoes of the hymns, a testament to the resilience of faith during the time of profound change. From the spiritual hub to the heart of commerce and power, we now will make our way to the Guildhall and the Merchant Adventurers' Hall. In the Tudor period, York was a city of merchants and craftsmen, and their guilds held significant power. The Guildhall was the political power center of the city where the city's governing body met. Here, crucial decisions were made that affected the daily life of every resident. Picture the heated debates that must have filled the hall as the city officials wrangled with challenges of the day, from trade disputes to maintaining order within the city walls. A stone's throw away is the Merchant Adventurers' Hall, the meeting place for one of the most powerful medieval guilds. These were not just merchants, but influential figures in society who helped shape the economic landscape of Tudor York. The merchant adventurers traded a variety of goods, including wool and cloth, commodities that held significant importance to the Tudor economy. As we end our afternoon in these halls of power, we're reminded of the economic and political dynamics that underpinned life in Tudor York. As the evening approaches, we turn our attention to the lighter side of life during this time. The city of York takes on a different life in the evening. Amid the trials and tribulations of the Tudor period, the inhabitants knew the importance of merriment and entertainment. The city would echo with music and tales spun by traveling players. The mystery plays were staged on carts that moved around the city. They were a highlight of the year, bringing biblical stories to life for the city's inhabitants. It, of course, also was the very earliest theater in England, was these traveling mystery plays. Imagine, if you will, joining the crowd in a torchlit square, watching these dramatic performances unfold. From laughter to gasps of surprise, these shared experiences were a key part of community life, providing both entertainment and a shared cultural touchstone for York's residents. As the evening entertainments draw to a close, we find ourselves at York Castle. The castle was a symbol of royal authority and a stark reminder of the potential consequences for those who crossed the crown. It also was a prison, its cold cells holding those who had fallen foul of the Tudor law. From the top of Clifford's Tower, the keep of the castle, you can imagine the view that would have greeted a Tudor citizen. The city spread out below, the dark outlines of buildings punctuated by the flicker of candlelight. Here, high above the city, one can't help but reflect on the city's past and the many stories that have played out within its walls. And so our day in Tudor York draws to a close. From the imposing city walls to the bustling marketplace of the Shambles, the fervent worship at the Minster, and the power plays in the Guildhall, we've immersed ourselves in the sights, sounds, and tastes of a vibrant and complex era. As always, thank you for your patronage and support. I hope you've enjoyed this patron episode, and I'd love to know any further requests you might have. Thank you so much, and I will be back again soon.
Blow, northern wind, ascend, who made me sway.